Hello, my friends, and welcome to the project list. I keep changing up. I keep changing up project list because as the years go by, and so do the things that happen on my channel. Always seem to grow bigger. You had to change things up. You had to go with the time and everything. So basically, what I did about, say, a few nights ago, I decided to basically port some of the projects I have planned out for the next couple years to be moved over to this new format. And not only is it better, but you can tell that in a larger sense of what it will entail, that most of them come from the older lists that I still have on my computer, in which some I just feel like porting over. So for the most part, that while I'm doing this, I'm going to share with you exactly what I'm going to be doing next year and going into possibly 2019. So some of the titles I'm actually doing on the side, because that way once I have it done I can just move on to something else while still be in the present time and still do whatever I have still going for 2017 and early 2018. Because let me tell you, by the time 2018 gets here, most of what I've been working on for this year would be going into the first part of 2018. Like Soul Calibur 2, Chrono Trigger DS, and the like. I'll be basically pushing them in, as well as cycling through a lot of older and newer titles that will be coming out on Steam. So yeah, I will be like I'll be cycling through a lot, and I do mean a lot of console titles from the old days, and at the same time slip in something new. So, as I said before, this is basically what I'm going to be working on for when I go through like the first couple of months of 2018, because I plan on taking a break in the summertime. So, going through the list, I plan to do the Enix trilogy of Soul Blazer, Illusion of Gaia, and Terranigma. Or rather, it's part of 4, because, well, can't forget about the first one before Soul Blazer, which was ActRaiser. So I've already done ActRaiser, so the next will be Soul Blazer, then Illusion of Gaia, and then finally Terranigma, just to finish out the saga. I'm already working on Arc the Lad, in between what I'm doing now, like Sam & Max and Undertale. Xenogears, I'm gonna be doing that on my other PlayStation emulator, since I tried it out on EPSXE, and the problem with that is there's some parts you could not see, because there are some games that handle the emulator well, others not so much. So I'll just be playing it on the PSX emulator. Beyond and Beyond also on the PSX emulator, because like I mentioned before, there are some that work a lot better than others. So therefore, I'm going with that. Child of Light is something I played on my 360 And since I do have an account, a UPlay account on Steam, I'm gonna be using, I'm gonna be playing it as well. That's something I plan to do later on during the month. I mean during the year, I should say. I've also started up Tales of Fantasia, but you know, playing it on my own time, uh, as well as Tales of Destiny, just to basically get a feel for those two games since I'm going to be finishing up Symphonia pretty soon. So I feel once I get a little farther than I already am in Fantasia, I will start doing parts on Fantasia. And the version I will be doing will be the PS1 version, because I know there are three versions out there. There's the Super Nintendo, the Game Boy Advance, and then there's the PlayStation version, PlayStation 1 version. So the version I will be doing for the PlayStation 1 is the Japanese audio version, and that's like the uncensored version. Rounding out the stories, I basically have on my DS. I think it's DS. No, it's either rounding out the stories. I really just never just played, but first time for everything. So I will be doing that as well. Um, there's so much because I just, for the time being, and I'm sorry if I'm stuttering a bit. I'm kind of out of breath from walking. It's hot. It's been hot today, so. Right. What I was mentioning, radio stories. Like I said, I'm pretty much setting up everything on my emulators so they could be, on quick list. And if I want to do a game on the side, it's right there on my quick list. So boom, boom, boom. Just set everything up. Yes, the ones I've basically have on my channel that just like is basically a zero part, but planning on doing. Phantasy Star Universe. It might be be long. Might be long. And it can also be very short depending on how big and how long the parts will be. Star Ocean Till the End of Time, aka Star Ocean 3. I'll be honest, that was my first Star Ocean. Star Ocean 3 was my first Star Ocean game because I bought it out of curiosity. I played it, and since then I have the other two games. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the series backwards, from 3 to 2 to 1. I don't know about the later ones, but I know I'm gonna be doing the first three games backwards. So it'll be Till the End of Time, then the Game Boy Advance version, which is Star Ocean 2, and then the Super Nintendo version of Star Ocean 1. Radiant History. I've heard it was an interesting game, and I'm gonna be honest. There's some that I'm gonna point out. There are gonna be some titles that basically are requests. So most of what I put down, I mixed the requests up just because it's interesting for me to do a game. I've done requests before. And by the way, you can request games if you feel like you want me to do one. And don't be afraid to tell me what kind of game you want me to do. I think I mentioned this before, but there are some games, some genres I will not do. So don't ask me to do FPS unless if it was BioShock. Unless if it was Payday, BioShock, or Shadow Warrior, or anything of the like that. No, I'm not doing any FPS because I don't. Because FPS are more hit, or more miss than hit sometimes. I mean, yeah, there's hit and miss, but you know, with FPS, it's either or. Um, so like I said, there are some titles that my friends have just want me to do when they told me through Discord, Skype, and even on Facebook. The hell, you can just tell it to me on Twitter. I don't mind. I actually read my social media sometimes when it comes when it's like, oh, it's to me. Okay. So let's see. After all that, what else is there? Oh yes, Sigma Star Saga. Yes, I know who requested this one. I know you're there, Ryu. I know you're there. Don't worry. I plan to do the game justice, or if it has any justice or whatsoever. Just know I plan to do it. Another one that was requested to me was Sheena, and it's Dragon Ball. And I know which Dragon Ball it is because it's the NES version. So it's either Dragon Power, which is basically Dragon Ball, or Dragon Ball Shenron no Nazo. The only difference between Dragon Power and Dragon Ball are the names. And, you know, there's some things that don't make sense. Like, for instance, in Dragon Ball, if you remember the story of how in some cases they had to do a few lewd things just to get the Dragon Balls. One such part of it was basically when they got to the Turtle Hermit, Kame Sennin. And basically, in order to get one of the Dragon Balls, he wanted panties. That's all. And Bulma had to show her panties just to give him just to coax him to give up the Dragon Ball. So yeah, therefore, in the game, they changed it up to a sandwich. I'm serious. They changed it up to a sandwich because the lewdness. I'm like, really? Okay. You want a sandwich instead of pan? Yeah, okay, whatever. And you get a nosebleed off a sandwich, really. Anyway, moving on. Boy, Dragon Ball. You know what? I prefer old school Dragon Ball compared to the later ones. It's like Z was fine. Kai was just basically just filler. Fillerless Dragon Ball Z. That's all Kai was. And then you had before pre-Super, it was called GT. And you got mixed views of that, and then there's Super, and I'm sorry, but Super is like, I don't know what it's trying to be. It's trying to be something that basically is nothing more than endless fights. Katobi fight. Silver Cross, get it on. Silver Cross, get it on. Omae knockout. Basically, that's all it really is. That's all Super really is. It's just like tournament. Dragon Ball Z Tournament Edition. And I mean, it's like, okay, please, if you're going to end up like Bleach, please, for the love of God, don't. So we all seen how Bleach turned out. We don't want Dragon Ball Super to be like Bleach. I also plan to do Brave Fencer Musashi and Musashi Samurai Legend. since I actually have the since I actually have a disc to Musashi Samurai Legend, I'll most likely play off that if not for finding, you know, a ROM for it. Brave Fencer Musashi, I'm going to enjoy playing that because, you know, it's just very cartoony, very colorful. And, you know, I happen to like those kind of games sometimes, you know, kind of stray away from being dark and dreary and all that. It's just, Evelyn, I'm going to count 1 and 2. Just 1 and 2 since they have a sequel to Evilland. I plan to do Evilland 1 and then 2. And I probably will do it in the way that, excuse me, in a way that I don't normally do Let's Plays. Basically, probably do 1 and 2 at the same time. And then, you know, after 1 is done, then I have 2 to put up. You know, just like that. It's like it follows after each other. Agarest Zero. I've never played the Agarest War series. And although it's on 360, I do have it on Steam. And pretty much I have all the little perks that come with it. So, yeah, I'm going to be playing it with perks. Excuse me for just trying to... I really need to cut these nails out. I really do. Okay, next one. Like I said, I haven't played enough strategy, tactics, so therefore, like, right after, when I get back to Fire Emblem, it'll just put me in the mood to do, you know, more strategy tactics. So that means, yeah, Pokemon, Pokemon slash Nobunaga's Ambition will be on the list too. I haven't wrote it down, but Pokemon Conquest, I should say. You know what? Let me do that right now because I plan to do this, and I'd rather just let it be known that I will do this on the channel as well. So I'm gonna put down. Because I tried it, and I like it. You know, it's different from your regular Pokemon, so therefore, you know, why not? Okay, so we're back to Agarest. Okay, Agarest. Okay, Gex, Enter the Gecko, is also a request. And the person in question who wanted me to do this will be 40 Warrior. And 40 has an interesting request, just like Ryu and Sheena. They all have interesting requests because basically these are games I've never played before, and some games I have played before just require just simple muscle memory. So that's going to be a challenge within itself, and you know it's going to be a good healthy challenge. You know, nothing too crazy, nothing too hard, just something moderate. You know, that's what I like. I like a moderate difficulty. You know, I don't want anything too cheap, and I don't want anything too hard. I want something right in the middle. Yes, I do plan on doing Bomberman, but I plan on doing the NES version. Oh, and by the way, it's not going to be, I'm not going to start with Bomberman 1. Bomberman 2, because that's when they actually had story to it. So pretty much, when I do Bomberman, it'll be the NES, TurboGrafx 16, and the Super Nintendo versions of Bomberman. No doubt whenever I start that up. I'll probably start that up within, say, while I'm doing other Let's Plays. While other Let's Plays are going on, I'll probably, like, you know, do some parts on the side. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing a lot of games, but I'm doing a lot of parts on the side. Another one I plan to do. I haven't done that I haven't done since Bastion will be Transistor, and I've heard Transistor is pretty good, so I am looking forward to doing that. Okay, we're almost down to the end of the list. We have Armed Dragon Fantasy Vidagust. It's based off an anime I've never even heard of or seen. But I played the NES version, and pretty much I might just do the NES version. There's a Super Nintendo version, but I haven't done enough Super Nintendo. I haven't done enough Nintendo games, and I've been straying off there since I've been going, Steam here, Steam, PS2, PS1, and whatnot. So, like I said, I probably will just, add that to the list. Yes, I also have Wild Arms 2 on PS2. PS1. Mind you, I am very tired, so if I start tripping over where I should be, it's only because it's been a long day for me. So Wild Arms 2, I plan on doing next year. I'm not gonna say when, but it will be sometime next year. I just have to look into it, and possibly one of those games I'm gonna have to play on the side and just get into trying it out, and then after I get to a certain point, start recording it and get the parts out of the way. Yes. Now we get to these. Ar tonelico. I have a place for it. I'm not going to say when, but I do have a place for it. It's going to be one of them interesting kind of let's plays, because it's one of those games you wouldn't expect me to do. Really, I mean, from what I've seen, it is a pretty interesting it is a pretty interesting game, not just let's play, but it's a pretty interesting game, and I don't know, I'm just gonna be like, okay, where are we going with this? That's what I was just gonna ask the question, where are we going with this? And this is another game I played on the side while just trying it out, seeing if I like it or not, if it's LP worthy. Legend of Hercules, or Hercules. For those who don't know, Heracles and Hercules are the same person. Just one is Greek and one is Roman, but it still talks about the same person, which is Hercules. Now, I've seen the movie Hercules, the old 80s version of Hercules with Lou Ferrigno, because there have been various Hercules. There's one with the early 70s with Lou Ferrigno. Then the one 80s version with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then the later ones, I forget who played. I know Dwayne Johnson played as Hercules. So the only ones I've already known are those three. Oh, and there was a TV show based off of Hercules, played by Kevin Sorbo. So those were four actors who've actually played the role of Hercules. So basically, I think that's pretty much all that I know about it. But Hercules and Hercules are the same person. Just one is told Greek, and the other one is told Roman. That's the only difference, but it's the same thing. Oh, let's not forget the Disney version of Hercules and the comic book from Marvel of Hercules. And then we get to Pokemon Conquest. Now, I have played Pokemon Conquest, and I've tried it out. It's a cross between Nobunaga's Ambition and, well, Pokemon. Just the way it's done is different. And I don't mind that because to me, Pokemon is an easily to make stale game. Most people don't know this. Even if you were to make a sequel of an already existing Pokemon game, it. I mean, I'm just telling you the truth. You basically, it basically is an easy to make stale game unless you basically switch up on the format. Plus, there are people out there that are just too obsessed with Pokemon in the sense that, you know, they talk about the stats and the figures and the numbers and the odds. I'm like, please get away from me with that. I'm being honest. I'm being truly honest. I never said this, but when you go into facts and figures about Pokemon, you make pie charts, you make graphs and whatnot, I could just look at you and say, so what does this have to do with the game? And I mean, no disrespect, but I like my game simple, you know? It's like Legend of Zelda. Legend of Zelda is the same way. You got people out there who are just trying to crack the code. They're trying to do this. They're trying to do that. I'm like, that's nice and all, but could you please keep away from me and all this computer talk about the Legend of Zelda, please? It's not that I'm out of the loop, but I just don't care about that. It's simple as that. I don't care about that. I care about playing the game. I don't care about the facts and figures and whatnot. I said, if you want to do facts and figures, do it somewhere else. But please, no disrespect, but if you're enjoying the game, I'm satisfied with that. Please. Please, know your roles and be respectful. Okay? Not that I'm mad, but it's just, come on now. Don't over geek, okay? You can geek out, but don't over geek. Yeah, it's a new term now. Over geek. Over geek is when you basically just do that. You go into the facts and the figures, and you gotta pull out the cards, and then you gotta do this, and then you gotta do that, and then you gotta pull this and this and this and this, and you gotta divide by the number of this, and then add to this, and equal this, and multiply by that, and then you gotta go subtract and all that. And please stop. We live in a different age now. It's nice that you want to do that, but please don't ask me about that, because I'm gonna be real dumb and say, what does that do with what I'm playing? Suffice to say, this is what this is really the new style that I'm going to use for my Let's Plays, actually, or actually planning out my Let's Plays. So I'm sharing this with you because, like I said, I plan to do this with my old list and put them on to the new list, just because it just seems to flow better, I think. So yeah, I'm totally ready for the new year. So most likely, what I'll be doing on the side, like I said, I plan to get a few games out when I'm done with say this month, because I already got two games planned for this month. One in particular is Sam & Max The Devil's Playhouse. And I'm really hoping that you guys have been enjoying Sam & Max, even though it has been pretty much getting the lowest view count since, I don't know why. I mean, it's just basically Sam & Max. I mean, come on. It's weird, it's funny, and if you don't get the jokes, you'll get the jokes, trust me. But yeah, I plan on doing Sam & Max episode 4 of volume 3. And then, of course, I'm going to do Volume 5, which is the last of The Devil's Playhouse. And then after that, I do have something I'm planning to do, and it is a little side series of games that I have never played before, that I've played before, but never beaten them. And these are like old games. Not new games, but very old games. Very obscure, and some that basically people have tried in the past to beat, but never beaten them since then. Until they found out, until they were older and they decided they wanted to beat them. So, for this month, to go along with Sam and Max, I know it's kind of a long video, but hey, it needs to be said. To go along with Sam and Max, Volume 3 is going to be Izzy Versus. That's right. That'll be the name of my side series, which I could say was basically inspired by Rocky Armor's challenge of Civilization 1. So I figured, you know what? Why don't I do that? I mean, I'm doing a game which, I don't know, I am talking over something, and I'm talking about today's issues and whatnot, while at the same time I'm not focusing on the game. So I do have a few games in mind to do as not a Let's Play, but Izzy Versus. So far, I have on hand Dr. Chaos, The Goonies, The Goonies 2, The Tower of Jiraga, and see another one. Oh yeah, another one will be Harvest Moon is One for Life. So that'll be my first 5 for Izzy Versus. Some, some I feel if I just kind of spread out a bit instead of doing it in the Let's Play motif. Because if I do it in a Let's Play motif, it's going to be common standard. But if I do it in a different format that is still Let's Playable, but it's under a different moniker, I feel it's going to do better. So like I said, there are certain games I feel that need to be challenged in a way. And I feel, there are certain games that do need to be challenged, and then there are certain games that just need to be played. So those 5 that I mentioned will be under the moniker of Izzy Versus. It's still going to be a Let's Play, but under a different set of rules. Just like the Tenkai, just like Project Tenkai. It's still a Let's Play, but it's going to be under a different format. Because I feel it's like this. Pardon. There are certain games that are going to be that just don't need to be just a normal Let's Play. It needs to be something else. So therefore, it is what it is. But it's still going to be a Let's Play, but it's just not going to be under the normal Let's Play moniker. That's all it is. And plus, it's going to be somewhat of an epic game. So it's not just your standard Let's Play, but it's just one of those kind of titles that just like, it needs something more. That's all. But other than that, like I said, I plan to do like a whole mess of backlog and get what I need to get out of the way for this year, and pretty much just kind of like start everything fresh by, say, I'm not sure, maybe around March or so. March or April, and then we just go from there. But all you need to know is that all these titles that I plan to do, I plan to just start recording off them once I get a feel for playing the game. Because that's how I am. I have to get a feel for playing the game first. And then after I get a feel for playing the game, then I want to record it. Because it makes better sense for me to record it and just like share my feelings about it and, you know, still play the game and enjoy it regardless of what I do to it. The most important thing is I'm enjoying myself with it. Another thing I need to point out is I don't care about, you know, I can care less about how YouTube runs its standards and practices. As long as I'm not hurting anybody, as long as I'm not basically trying to steal anybody's thunder, I'm not. I'm basically doing what I'm doing on YouTube. So I can care less about the facts and figures, algorithms and whatnot, because, you know, numbers and numbers, and they'll grow over time. So, you know, it's really not anything to really worry about. But aside from that, yeah, this is, wow, I mean, for what it's worth, I think you're gonna like the channel project list for the coming years. And as long as there are video games out there that I feel I want to push the envelope to myself and challenge myself in doing so, then that means there's going to be more great content for you to enjoy on your own time. So, with that said, I've been your friendly neighborhood Tenkaichi, Ichigo Musco, and I'm looking forward to most of what I'm going to try to tackle on this project list. So I hope you stick around for great content, and I'll see you next time in the not so far future. So until then, take care, God bless, have a great and wonderful weekend, and I'll see you soon with even more Let's Plays. Take care, God bless, Senpai's blessings to you all, and Tenkai Muso!